Sound speed. So welcome to yet another video. I shoot in a horrible recording space, but the reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to attempt in this video to turn it into a makeshift recording booth. And obviously this is not going to replace something like a whisper room or any kind of a makeshift thing that you make yourself, but the idea and goal here is to make it something that you can at least get by with until you have a better studio environment or someplace to shoot that's quiet. Maybe your wife kicks you out of the house and says, you gotta shoot in the garage. This will hopefully provide you with some information you can use to make that sound at least usable for the time being. Looking at my garage from that camera perspective, you're able to see my garage refrigerator back there next to our water heater and this entire camera setup, including the Bogan tripod, the Panasonic Lumix G7 you always see me shooting on, and I'm using a long shotgun microphone, the t.bone EM9900. The reason I'm using a long shotgun microphone is for two reasons. Number one, you know that I hate having a microphone in front of my face, and I'm able to move my hands all around in front of me without hitting the microphone. And number two, it is a long shotgun microphone, meaning that it's not just going to be picking up sound directly in front of me, it's going to be picking up all the reflections of this room in every single direction around me. And because it's a hard room with a lot of very, very reflective surfaces when I speak as loud as I am, it's going to sound like total garbage. And that's what I'm looking for. For purposes of this video, I did buy a few things from Amazon, and there are links down in the description for any of the items in this video, and alternates in case you prefer a different color, cheaper option. But that doesn't mean you have to follow those links, because you can find many of these things in local stores, including what's in this box, which is black Fernie pads. Furniture moving pads, moving blankets, whatever you want to call them. It's such a big thing. They're all white on one side and black on another. There are 4 in here, and wow, that was loud. You can get blue or green if you prefer them, but these are black on one side, white on another, because you might want to use them for lighting if you're doing any kind of videos. Now, before I show you this next item, I do feel the need to tell you that I've destroyed probably about $70 or $80 worth of gear in finding the right thing to recommend to you guys. And if you don't believe me, check out this video. Oh, mother. So as you saw, photography background T-stands are not strong enough to hold things like Fernie pads. But I do have an option for you, and it's still economical. That is T lighting stands for mobile DJs. This right here is one I got on Amazon. And if you open up the box here, I haven't even gotten into this thing, but I'm not confident with it because it actually had a rate weighting. And all it is a stand with a T-bar on top. I might as well set it up and then show you. This T-stand may not be as wide as a photography background stand, but it's still going to serve our purposes. First of all, it's able to hold the weight of a bunch of Fernie pads, and that's going to be a good thing. But second of all, if you wanted to use a bunch of spring clips, you could extend this out with pieces of dowel rod or anything else you have in your house that's long like that. But using 2 of these stands, not just this one that I bought from Amazon, but also this heavier duty one that I used to use when I was a professional DJ, I'm going to make a makeshift sound booth. Moving blankets are not square, they're rectangular, and you want to find the longer dimension in order to fold that in half to hang as long as possible while still having maximum width. And the best way for you to find the long end is by finding one of the corners of the furniture pad, moving blanket, Fernie pad, whatever you want to call it. Running your fingers together with those 2 seams, you will eventually find an end like this, where one of them stops and the other keeps going. Well, the one that keeps going is obviously your longer end. Now, because I'm actually doing a video in here, I'm going to line this up so that way the white side is facing me. Now, I've overlapped it here at the top by about 1 foot. And the reason I did that is because if it's overlapped, that's fine. It's going to actually lock in better with the other layer. And I am going to be adding another layer to it, but this one's going to be facing the other way. And I'm not going to overlap it quite as much. Now, to hold it in place, we're going to use spring clips. 1, 2. This one's done. You may be looking at this and saying, Alan, you're only making 2 baffles. A sound booth has 4 walls. You're right. But I'll show you with only 2 stands, you can create 4 walls. But in the meantime, I think I need to turn off my refrigerator behind me because the thing will not shut up and it's starting to drive me crazy. Now I have two baffles behind me, and you may be saying, Alan, you're directing your voice the wrong way. If you want your voice to be stopped by the baffles, you gotta face them. You're right. So I should actually listen to that advice. So right now I'm gonna wanna stop my sound from going out in front of me. But that's going to block my lighting a little bit, and I wanted to at least show you what it would look like and sound like because this is a long shotgun microphone. It is not picking up the reflections deep off the background behind me because it's blocking that back to the microphone at this time. But still, you're catching a lot of reflections from this room, so we gotta treat those. It's a better use of these sound blankets if I don't stack them over top of each other. They're already 2 layers thick. Why don't we do something different with it and see if we have better results? I'm starting to block out my light a little bit, but that kind of goes with the territory. Notice I'm closer, a little more intimate feeling. And that's probably because I'm starting to close this in a little bit. But before I do so, I feel the need to tell you that you want to stand on some sort of a carpet because a lot of waves, like sound waves, will bounce off of surfaces. And you want to try to eliminate standing waves. And those are waves that bounce between 2 surfaces, like the ceiling and the floor, or a left and right wall. That's one reason why when I was creating the baffle before, I made them in a right angle to each other. That way it's breaking up those standing waves coming off the 2 walls around me. And that's actually happening right now. Being that I also lowered the amount of reflections in the room by lowering my voice and making it a little bit quieter, that is going to help as well. But for right now, I'm going to put something underneath me. Now, if I don't want to spend any more money, I can use towels. And that's what I'm going to do just now. Actually, being completely honest, I'm going to be using multiple different types of towels and blankets, mainly because I don't want all my towels in the house to disappear, because that will get me in trouble with my wife. So I'm going to be using miscellaneous sofa blankets and towels, which will probably also get me in trouble, let the truth be known. Now that the ground is treated, I'm going to start closing myself in, but first, raise the stand to the height that you want them to be at. I'd recommend at least 6 to 9 inches over the top of your head. I'm going to be going for about 1 foot over the top of my head in this video, and I'm going to be using the clips from this stand and this stand to connect up one between stands. Now I'm completely within my wall of Fernie pads, and we're really hearing the proximity effect on this microphone really come out at this point because all of my walls are double thick and they're blocking quite a bit of the reflections, with the exception of this wall right here, which I left black because it's single thickness. And that is also an escape wall where I can get out real quickly and easily without affecting my double walls anywhere else. Now, if I were using a different microphone, it would not have the proximity effect. And I am going to push it for just a second so that way you can really hear the proximity effect. And when I get closer within a decent distance away from the microphone, you're not going to hear as much of the reflection in this room anymore. I'm not doing any post-processing. This is the way it is. Just to give you an idea of how dead this space sounds when using loud volumes inside of this environment, I'm using the 2XY microphones on the top of this Tascam DR40 to give you an idea of how it does indeed sound. It's pretty dead, even in this environment. Now, obviously, you would want to use some sort of lighting or something like that, probably put something on top of this stand, firing into this wall, or on top of this stand and firing into this wall if you were wanting to record in something like this. But then, in all honesty, I would recommend not getting just this for your lighting and spread them out a little bit. Maybe get multiple stands. That'd probably be a good thing anyway, right? But thank you very much for tuning in this video. Hopefully you learned some stuff, and don't forget to click on any of the product links down below if you are curious about checking any of them out. Thanks for tuning in this episode of Sound Speech, and be sure to tune in the future for more sound tips, tricks, and sound advice. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.